I actually managed to avoid wading into it because it was just so intensely ridiculous and a waste of time.
But you didn't want to weigh in on whether or not we should be fucking our cousins and dead bodies?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Why?
not.
Why, Ashley? That makes you the freak, by the way. That makes you the weirdest.
What's wrong with you?
It means that you believe in eugenics, Ashley. That's what it means.
And didn't someone say to you, Angie, that that you have no credibility if you're not willing to debate these things philosophically?
Yeah, and I was like, it's not my credibility that I'm worried about, mate. You're the one who was talking about fucking corpses on Twitter. Like, fucking.
Here's my question. Let's say you are a visible leftist. Like, they're always like chiding us about talking about class and about how we're not, talking about the right things. We should be talking about other things. I want to know what some fucking normal person who's like worried about paying their rent that month, they see some leftist like going, yeah, I'm really pissed off about these people not saying that incest and necrophilia is okay. Like, what the fuck does that person look at us and go like,
I've made this point before, but it's like the left is turning into this caricature of what the alt-right think we are. Like, like I've said it before, like leftists are turning into leftists in Stone Toss cartoons. Like basically the pretend fake leftist that is there to make the left look bad in comparison to
they say like
the right. And it absolutely, like, imagine how devastating it would be if that discourse, screenshots of that discourse were like went mainstream, like on Facebook or
yeah, exactly.
Yep,
That's what I'm fucking thinking about.
Yep.
And the thing is these are people who get attention.
Yeah.
It's likely that someone screenshotted this.
Yeah, and you know what, like they say, if you're not willing to discourse this, then you have no place in leftism, whatever. I feel like that is very much bullshit, because what we should be thinking about with leftism, considering that we're not mainstream yet at all, is optics a lot of the time. And what is worse optics than debating whether or not we should be able to fuck dead bodies?
And children too.
To the average person, that is revolting, and it's not something they're even willing to entertain.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter why either. Like, there's a lot of people, they're like, well, listen, here's the thing. The most important thing is that we need to outline exactly what we're talking about here. If you're grossed out by this, it's fine. But if you're talking about it from the perspective of, genetics or whatever, that's eugenics. It's like, no, none of that shit fucking matters. You talk to any person off the fucking street and you say, hey, what do you think about fucking your cousin or a dead body? They're going to be like, why did you ask me that? What the fuck is this?
I think that these people are basically like the end stage of this kind of weird individualist kind of like neoliberal logic. And that's kind of like what's allowed them to go down the rabbit hole of really unnecessary topics that don't actually mean anything to anybody who like is actually interested in like material issues. It's more just this weird like internal navel gazing, forever unpicking and analyzing and deconstructing, rather than trying to be constructive with some form of ideology and construct new forms that are going to help people and be edifying for people, not just materially but also in terms of like psychology and but also in terms of psychologically and in terms of, just general feelings of empowerment. It's all about like deconstruction and wasting a lot of mental energy on things that don't actually fucking matter. And I guess the reason why I chastise it is because I want to scream loudly that these people don't represent the left.
Yeah,
to any
no.
like onlookers. You know, like I want to scream loudly that these people are crazy and they don't represent the left, and you're not a eugenicist for being against incest, and you're not fucking a horrible, terrible fascist for thinking it's not okay to like fuck corpses or children, and because that was another thing they were trying to do, was sort of talk about kind of libertarian age of consent bullshit. And yeah, it's just weird. And
it's like, where does this shit come? Like, what the is that like the inevitable like place where an internet movement lands? Like, I want to know, like, does an internet movement get popular and then they realize, you know, we can't get anything real done?
Well, like, look at
Can
who
we at
these
least
people...
bitch about fucking kids?
What happened is that Bernie dropped out, and we went from being like, we just want healthcare, to should we be able to fuck dead bodies in months? That's how short it took for the left to just completely disintegrate without having a singular goal in mind.
But look at who these people are, though, because these people are usually like fail sons, like PMC fail sons, like the children of like the professional managerial class who went to like fancy universities and have like philosophy degrees, and they didn't really do anything but like stay at home in their parents' basement, but they were told their whole lives that they were these mental giants and these philosophical, you know, wonder boys and girls or whatever. And like, they then go on Twitch, and then they have this like endless audience of sycophants being like, oh my God, such logic, much wonderful. Oh my God. And they buy into their own shit. So they're like, yeah, I can philosophically justify anything in order to create edgy takes. Look at me. Is this not politics?
Do you think they're doing this for the challenge?
Yeah, it's like a postulation of like, look at how fucking wonderful and clever aren't I a good boy? I can justify pedophilia.
I'm such a good arguer.
Yeah.
I can make people okay with fucking kids.
Yeah, literally.
It's like it's just like an unfunny stand-up bit. It's an unfunny stand-up routine. So like it is a tactic to use to like go out and say something absolutely crazy and outrageous, and then like, oh, but whoa, let me back up, and this is why, and then you make the joke from there. But there's no joke. It's just, this is a fucking stupid thing, and let me intellectualize it to you for 5 minutes, and there's no punchline. And at the end of the day, you're just like, so now I'm like, now I think you want to fuck your cousin and a dead body is one hell of a party, my dude.
Catch Jesus. That's what my mom would say. Catch
Me
Jesus.
and Peter once watched this awful Netflix special of one of those like edgy, dark comedians. And I mean, to his credit, the audience were loving it for some fucking reason. But it was literally just like dead babies and like the audience.
But that is it though. That's literally what this Twitch like fucking weird cabal people are. They're like, yeah, fucking necrophilia, man. And they're all like, woo!
He had this fucking smug look on his face every time he finished it.
Yeah, he was just like, he just knew that they were all fucking ready for it.
But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing, though. This like weird Twitch cabal. That's like their whole shtick. Is it's like, oh my God, dead babies. Oh, necrophilia, and their audiences are like pinching. They're like pinching their nipples in excitement, just like fucking getting off on
They
it.
start combining them. They're like, necrophilia, but they're underage.
Yeah, literally. And it's like fucking, it's like, they're like Caligulas. They're like mini Caligulas, in my opinion. Because Caligula, they have the fucking arrogance of like Roman emperors, all of them. And Roman emperors were all into fucking incest and like child fucking and all of that crazy shit. And I think that's what these people think communism is like everyone gets to be Caligula. Everyone gets, like, we're all just temporarily.
Everyone gets what they want. That's what it is.
Yeah, we're all just temporarily embarrassed Caligulas, and we basically just need to allow the market. We need to basically, we need to mold the market to suit whatever our deepest, most individualistic desires are. It's kind of like a neoliberal utopianism. That's kind of what they think socialism is, which is why I'm always super like skeptical when I hear people going around yelling luxury gay space communism or whatever, because really and truly what they're talking about is like a neoliberal utopia where they get to stay in their like weird little atomized Oedipal room where all of their weirdest
holodeck. They're on the
we're
fucking
all
holodeck.
where all of their weird impulses are catered to, and where they can sort of explore all of the weird crevices, the weird dusty ass crevices of their dusty ass minds, and try and find ways of normalizing injustice.
It's just basically going to be like the big ship on Wall-E, but everyone can buy a new furry suit instead of a different coloured like onesie or whatever.
I think it's people who think that like when communism happens, they can just let their shadow selves run wild and like all their deepest like disgusting sexual fetishes will be 100% acceptable. And you know what, like, from a personal standpoint, I don't really give a shit if two consensual related people have a sexual relationship, but I also don't want to be debating it or making it some kind of fucking...
The thing is, I never said that I thought that it should be illegal. Like, there's obviously like ethical... Yeah. I never said that, but people were like yelling at me as if I said that. And I was also making fun of the fact that they were even having this fucking stupid conversation in the first place. And also insisting that anybody who didn't want to didn't deserve to be in the left, and also believed in eugenics because they had an anti-incest stance or whatever, which is just absolutely insane and completely ludicrous and totally off the wall. But yeah, if we're going to have the fucking conversation, then yeah, I definitely think there should be a
It's just like I said, like, people are going to do that kind of shit whether you like it or not. And I'm not here to like fucking police people's bedrooms. I don't want to do that. I just don't think that this is a real political issue.
I'll tell you now that legally you have to make sure that no one's fucking dead bodies, because coronavirus 2 will come up and eat your ass before you even fucking know
Coronavirus 2 Electric Boogaloo.
It will be Coronavirus 2 Electric Boogaloo if you go around fucking dead bodies. Okay? There's a reason we don't do this shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, a lot of that taboo actually does come from the fucking plague era, does it not? Am I fucking insane?
Also to do with the fact that they're dead, and that's not hot at all. Like, who the fuck?
There's
such a thing as sexuality that is pathological in that regard. I mean, if you are getting off, a lot of people who are into that kind of shit are getting off because it's inanimate. They're getting off because it's something that cannot really express itself or have agency in that regard. And that kind of sexuality isn't always harmful, but it definitely can be. And I mean, yeah, it's weird. And also, I'm allowed to think that things are sexually weird.
And you know what? You're allowed to think that like normal things are weird.
Yeah. And I also think it's weird that like, this sort of discourse tends to be around like getting rid of stigma and shame for everything. And I'm like, socialism isn't here to get rid of shame and stigma.
Yeah, no.
That's not what it's for. That's not what leftism is about.
No, we're
it's not
resolving the contradictions in society that allow you
not
to
the contradictions inside your head about
agency and freedom.
Yeah. We're not here to resolve the contradictions inside your head about like your weird shit. That's like
Exactly. It's not about your individual hangups.
Yeah, that's
It reminds me of this case in Germany where a guy that was into like cannibalism, I guess, like he found someone online who consented to being killed by him and then being eaten by him. Like that, the guy was totally into it. He wanted to be killed and eaten, whatever.
I know about the story.
And it's like, you know, it's really strange. It's weird because, I mean, like, where do you even start with that? Like, I mean, because when someone's dead, they can't really consent anymore.
It's consented before death. It's a written contract. I'm sorry. It's two consenting adults.
Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter.
In that case, that's very interesting because it was like a guy that wanted to basically commit suicide, but then he felt like committing suicide would essentially be too messy, like cutting his wrists or, you know, whatever. It would just be nasty. So, like, he felt like he could be of use to someone in some other way that wasn't just your conventional, like, oh, I donate my body to science or whatever. So, he found this fucking guy, and then he had a little nibble. And I think that it's okay.
I think
if you've had, you know, the conversation beforehand, you've got a written contract.
No.
You know, if you wanted some Jakey bacon and I'd contractually signed that,
Jakey,
then
baby.
I would fucking go. I'd let you have it. I wouldn't judge you for it in the afterlife either.
I'm not a sick fuck. I'm not interested. And if you want to eat people, then you're a sick fuck. Like, cannibalism is like one of the like few like proper human taboos that we actually have. Like, fucking get away from me. Get away from my children.
This is going to be the next stage. This is going to be the next stage of late capitalism, okay? It's going to be people selling their meat to cannibals after they die for money for their children. Bang. That is going to be some next level Blade Runner shit. So, like, I will be...
good enough for the hero in Snowpiercer, it's good enough for me. That's what I'm gonna
this
say.
is my thing. I feel like the internet and shit atomizes people from experience. Like, people are so removed from experience that these novel ideas sound kind of interesting to them. They're like, oh, I would try a spot of cannibalism. I would try a spot of bestiality. But if the prospect was actually presented towards you IRL, you would feel revolted by it. Like, if you went somewhere and you saw human meat in front of you, you would have some kind of disconnect in your empathy, just your natural kind of empathy, to feel like, oh yeah, that looks like a snack right there. Like, cannibalism is it's a visceral taboo, and to think that you have the internal wherewithal to break such a visceral taboo, like, we should do it. Come to London. We'll try.
If it was like mint or like bacon,
Exactly.
I don't think I would care. I don't.
You're not gonna. No. It's not even that you're not gonna care. It's that you're not even gonna fucking
You're not gonna know.
Like, you're not gonna even know.
What is this Sweeney Todd fucking?
But you know what I think this is? It's just these very online, quote unquote lefty people. It's just their fucking next phase of quarantine. It's just they've watched too much incest porn on Pornhub. They've gone down the rabbit hole too long. They've ended up in some weird forums, and now they're intellectually debating whether they'd fuck a dead body or not. And it's because they've not, like, seen anyone or fucked other human being in like 7 or 8 months. So it's just kind of the effects of this sort of thing. And with that, hello, welcome to Low Society.
Yes.